Okay. Hello, everybody. I'll be with you in a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh yeah, I should probably grab my cards as we're going to do some card readings, huh? Okay, almost there. Bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, bum. Oof-da. All right, almost situated. Thank you. Hi, Anna. Thank you for your patience as I get myself and my kitty cat situated. Okay. Bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, da, bum, bum. Okay. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Thank you for your patience. Astrius, hey! All right, I should start. I apologize, I am running a little bit behind, so. Kira let me know right as I was about to go on that it was dinner time. And so I had to see to her. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, what else do I need to do? Da, 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 da. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Come on, Kendall, you can, there you go. Ba, da, ba, ba, da, ba, 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 bum. Ba, 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 bum. All right, all right. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Monday night mini medicine card readings. If you are new here, wondering who the heck I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And we are going to do some readings from the medicine card deck. So each card has a different totem on it, right? And so the way this works is that the first 5 people to say yes in the comments, and there's a couple people already who have led the way. The first 5 people to say yes get a 1 card reading. And if you are not one of those first 5, that is okay. El Tedits, hello, welcome. You have a card. Awesome, thank you for playing. What was I going to say? If you are not one of the first 5, or if you are watching this in replay, all you need to do is choose a number between 1 and 5, and then pay attention to that card. And I promise that Spirit has this beautiful way of interweaving things. And even though it may not be aimed directly at you, whatever you need, whatever guidance you need will come through in some way or another, right? So what else do I need to say? And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I do this every single week, every Monday night. And then every Wednesday night, I do my sacred pipe ceremony, which I have right here. I hold sacred space for us to connect in energetically and in prayer, to say our prayers and to smoke together. I'm in my apartment at the moment, so I can't actually smoke the pipe, but it's just as powerful. Anyway, and I'll go more into that later, but if that sounds like something, if you're curious or you want to know more about the pipe or you want to sit in sacred space, just have an excuse to just sit quietly in sacred space and connect to spirit, you are welcome to do so. So thank you for joining me today. Please share my video. That helps me out. And anything else? I guess, oh, and if you would like to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, which is me, this is my day job, so this is how I make a living. So anything that you wish to give me, I receive with such gratitude. It's amazing to me still that I can do what I love to do and people get something from it. It's helpful for people, and then people support me in actually doing it. So if you feel like you want to reciprocate in a different way, my Venmo link is in the comment in the description. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for joining me. I hope if nothing else you have fun tonight and that you get some kind of little upliftment or guidance, whatever. So I've only got 3 people so far, so I've got 2 spots left. If you're watching and you want a 1-card medicine card reading, all you need to do is say yes in the comments. And gosh, I am going to, as I am feeling still scattered. Hi, Tiffany, yay. Matt Groening. Candace Owens. I don't know, do I look like Matt Groening? I'm not sure what you're trying to say. But Tiffany, we got you. And I am still feeling kind of scattered, so I'm going to center, I'm going to call in our sacred space, which basically calls in the spirits to hold the higher vibration around us, so that we can relax, we can take the world off our shoulders because we're being watched over. This is safe space. And it also helps because of that higher frequency around us. Only love gets in, only love is invited. And so it helps to stave off any lower vibrations from coming in. So, plus it sets us into the context of ceremony. And I love ceremony, so. Spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the Fae, the spirits of the land, the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Only love gets in. Only love is invited. Oh. I love my drum. Alrighty. So let's get on to it. Got 1 spot left if there's anyone that wants it. And meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and start with card number 1 for Anna. All right. Anna, card number 1 is Squirrel in Reverse. Um, oh, and I forgot to say, the reason I do 5 cards is because if you were to come to me for a one-on-one reading, the spread I normally use is a 5-card spread called the medicine wheel spread. It's the 4 directions and center. And so at the end of pulling 1-card readings for each person, I take those 5 cards, I put them together in that spread, and I do a reading for the community, so you can see how the threads of your own life kind of interweave with those of the community. So, hello, April. Do you want a card? All you need to do is say yes. All right. So to do that, I need to keep track of which cards get pulled so that I can reconstruct them at the end. So card number 1 for Anna is Squirrel in Reverse. And it's kind of ironic because Squirrel in Reverse is actually kind of the energy that we think of like the popular picture of squirrel as hoarding things, as always having to squirrel things away, right? That's actually squirrel medicine in reverse. That's unbalanced squirrel medicine. The idea that you have to hoard things, you have to hold on to things, that you have to worry about the future, and the only way to protect against a bad future is to hold on to everything you can in the present, right? And it doesn't work that way, okay? So squirrel medicine in reverse is talking about letting go. Squirrel medicine is another aspect of abundance medicine. But unlike, say, buffalo, which is kind of that one-stop shopping medicine, the buffalo provided everything that the Plains Indians needed. Food, shelter, clothing, everything came from buffalo. And so it was this everything right there all the time, right? Squirrel, on the other hand, is about the flow of abundance, And even if you've ever watched a squirrel running, they look like a little wave, right? They leap, and then their tail kind of follows, and they look like this little wave across the ground. And that's kind of what squirrel medicine is about, is the current, right? Even our money is called currency because it's meant to flow, right? So true squirrel medicine is about that flow of abundance, right? And so if you are hoarding things, if you're holding something so tight because you don't know when you're next going to have the opportunity to have it, that's scarcity mindedness. That's getting in your own way. That's how it's kind of a self-feeding vicious circle, because the more into scarcity mindedness you are, the more feedback you get that the world is really like the resources are scarce, there's not enough to go around, I have to fight for everything I have. And it's actually the opposite. Squirrel is about the squirrels play and they are excited, and they find they find a big old acorn, right? It's like, oh my God, thank you, Goddess, thank you, universe, for this great big acorn. And they receive it, they embrace it. And then what do they do with it? They dig a hole and they bury it, they return it to the earth. So they recognize the abundance, they thank for it, and then they bury it, they return it. And so that instead of holding on to it, they free their arms so they can receive the next acorn that comes along, right? So you can't, if your hands are full, you can't receive the blessings coming for you. And so it's really kind of a sense of faith, sense of trust in the flowing of the universe that, the universe is based on abundance. The universe is based on well-being, right? Like Abraham Hicks talks about how um, there's only one source, right? There's not a source of well-being and a source of non-well-being battling it out, right? Or in our terms, good versus evil, right? There's not two separate sources. There's one source, and it's a source of well-being. And it's not so much being punished or, or this other, evil force coming up and taking it away from you. It's how much you can open up to that flow of abundance, right? Like the river. Um, Kind of like the story of Tantalus from Greek mythology, right? He was cursed. He was cursed to stand in a river, and every time he bent down to take a drink, the river level would drop, so they couldn't get it. And that's what like tantalizing. That's where that word comes from Tantalus, because the water was right there and it seemed within reach. But every time he reached down to take a drink, it receded, so he couldn't quite get it. And in that way, when we think of the universe as the world as a place of limited resources, of the universe as a limited resource, then when we reach for things, we're actually pushing them away. Does that make sense? They talk about if you're chasing something, you're actually pushing it away. It's about opening to receive, right? Because it is in your essence, your nature, that you are divine, that you are source energy. You are an aspect of source energy. That's who you are. And you are a creator, a co-creator of your reality. And the more you can open up and trust the flow and the unfolding of things, realizing that the universe has your back, that the universe is safe, friendly, and abundant, the more you can believe that, the more you can move into that mindset of abundance thinking, that there's always a solution, that things are always working out for you, the more evidence the universe will bring you. So, and there's another aspect. I mentioned how much squirrels love to play, right? And as adults in our society, we tend to, it's not good versus evil, it's work versus play, right? And we separate them, and they're two polar opposites. But, even Mr. Rogers would say that play is work. Play is how you learn. You play at something, you experiment at something until you get it right. Like Edison trying to invent the light bulb, right? He played at it. He learned 1,001 ways not to create a light bulb before he figured out how to. And so as to keep that, and it's not just blind faith. It's not just this blind optimism Like Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, is I'm a realist. I expect miracles. Miracles are what happens when nature is unimpeded. That miracles are the natural unfolding of our reality. And like he also said, you'll see it when you believe it. It's not about believing it once you see it, because you're the center of your reality. You're the one who, by your perspective, by your beliefs, by the filters that you allow yourself to see the world through, you decide what it is you see. And the more you see abundance, the more you see, like even with what's going on in the United States right now, there's so much despair and there's so much people going into cynicism and just fear and catastrophizing the future and hopelessness. And at the same time, there's people like me that, and don't get me wrong, things that are happening are horrendous. And at the same time, I am aware of the force of love and wholeness that are bubbling up from beneath. It's like the, the forces that support this reality that are bubbling up to the surface are love and respect and oneness and wholeness, togetherness, family and humanity and justice. All of those things are more evident right now than they have been in a really long time. And and so you can look at either all the destruction and be fearful, and not to say I do, and that's not to say I'm on some pedestal above it all. I still have my days when I despair, when I get filled with fear of what's going on, especially because I'm from Minnesota. I'm from the Twin Cities where all of those horrible, horrible things are going on with ice and everything else. So I go through my moments of that catastrophizing and um, that kind of thing too. But for the most part, it's like they say that where energy flows, where consciousness goes. And so it's the same world, but you could be standing next to someone on a street corner, observing the same things. Same world, same happenings, but there's two different worlds because one is focusing on the destruction and the scarcity and the hopelessness, while the other one is seeing beyond that to what is actually happening and changing. Um, I'm kind of going to be playing all that in my head to make sure I was saying it correctly because I don't want to be misunderstood as like I'm like woohoo, look what's going on kind of thing, because um, it's horrible. It really is, and I spend a lot of time in tears of my own, watching what's going on, all the pain and the suffering, the unnecessary. That's the thing, is when you can see these things, when you can see visions of the world like Star Trek, right? This world of overwhelming peace, of everyone following their hearts, where we're all working together, we're all having our rights honored and respected and celebrated, right? And when you can see that world and then you see what's going on right now, it's arguably even more devastating because it's the suffering happening is so unnecessary. It is so unnecessary. But that's my job as a shaman, is to hold the light, to look beyond, to be the visionary, um, the artist who sees beyond the physical appearance to what is actually happening in the background, right? And so even though I go through my own cycles up and down with what's going on, underneath all of it is a deeply rooted optimism of what is actually happening and what the outcome will be, hopefully sooner than later, right? So it's about perspective. It's about um, I was just talking to a friend the other day and made the point that, we still, even on a spiritual path, most people are still talking, they talk about themselves and then their higher self or their guides or whatever. There's still that separation, there's still that duality, right? But your divinity, your divine self, your true self, your higher self is you. There's no separation. It's not some other committee or teacher or authority up in the clouds with their, their pencil and paper taking down notes and checking off the good and the bad. Your higher self is you. There is no separation. Their will is your will. Your will is divine will. That's what they mean by as above, so below. And in other words, excuse me, that's what I mean when I say the universe has your back, because there is no you separate from the universe. And everything happening, there's no need to fear, because whatever is happening in front of you is not beyond you in overcoming. If that makes, I don't know if I'm making sense tonight, kind of in a weird place, but it wouldn't be happening. Your higher self would not allow things to happen unless you had the ability to overcome that, to get through it, to heal it. So just the fact that that challenge is in front of you is a sign of faith from the universe of how strong you are, right? There was an episode talking about Star Trek. There was an episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. It's the animated, the cartoon Star Trek with it's mostly focused on the engineers and the crew in the lower decks, that kind of maintenance and make everything move smoothly and stuff. And there was, they got sucked into another reality or dimension or something, parallel dimension, and there was some challenge that happened. And I wish I could remember more details. I have a tendency to remember the general feel of things, not so much the details. But there was some challenge in that reality that they couldn't figure out in that reality. But that reality's version of the one person knew that who he was in the original dimension would have the resources and abilities to solve this, and so they allowed it to go through into the other reality. I know I'm being really vague and not very succinct, but the gist of it was that part of him in the other reality had so much faith in him in the original reality that he allowed that challenge to bleed through into the original reality because he knew that he would be able to take care of it. And they actually figured that out. Like when it first came through, what's his name? Boinger? I don't remember the names, but um, he was like, why would they do that? This is punishing. This, why are they punishing us like this? And the other character was like, maybe it's not a punishment. Maybe they had so much faith in us because they knew that we could handle it, so they allowed it. They gave it to us because they couldn't do it. They knew we could handle it. And that's the way it actually, like, if you have a challenge in front of you, um, the universe will use whatever's in front of you to bring you home. Whatever is in front of you is the path. It is not random, it is not by accident, and you have everything within you that you need to not just get through it and resolve it, because that's just survival, but to utilize it as the next step to rise higher. And so the more, and thinking small, thinking in scarcity is a pattern, it's a habit. And so it might take some doing to create new neural pathways that think in that way, but it's really it like um, don't get caught in the self-fulfilling prophecy of being like, well, life is hard and we have to struggle to make it through and all of those things, because the more it's like, don't, what is that one phrase, it's like, don't justify your limitations, don't argue, don't argue for your limitations. When you start thinking in limited terms like that, like I said, the universe is going to reflect that, partially because the universe is like, okay, that's what they want. The universe is a giant yes, and whatever you ask for, you will get. Like I said, you could have two people standing next to each other on a corner, looking at the same world, but they'll be seeing two different worlds because of what they're perceiving. So it's not so much what the universe presents to you as how you perceive it. That's the part that is in your control. And to continually look for the playfulness, look for the whimsy, look for the joy, does more good than wallowing in hopelessness and depression and those kind of energies. And pardon me, I'm just pulling my phone charger over because I notice I'm in the red zone. Oh shoot, where did, oh, 1 second. All right. Beep. Phone plugged in. All right. So think big and trust that if things are hard, if things are falling apart, if there's no clear path forward, then well, okay, those are a bunch of different things. If things are too hard, if you're having to push to get through things, instead of pushing harder like our society teaches us, try backing off, try surrendering. If there is no path forward, it's time to rest. And it might be a matter of alignment, it might be a matter of divine timing. but it's about following the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is the path of joy. It's easier to be in joy. It's easier to be kind. It's easier to love. Like they talk about even just the smile, right? It takes more muscles to sustain a frown than it does to sustain a smile. It's harder to frown and and to be in hate or one of those lower frequency emotions. Not that one is better than the other. I'm not getting into hierarchy here, but it's harder to maintain. You have to actually fight. You have to actually try to stay. Hi, Chelsea. Yay. Good to see you again. You actually have to fight to maintain that because your soul is like a hot air balloon, and left alone, it naturally rises. We don't have to fight to the top of the mountain to get to our enlightenment, to get to our fulfillment. By fighting, just like I was talking about Tantalus, reaching for the water, by reaching for it, you're pushing it away. By thinking you have to fight your way to enlightenment, that you have to battle something, that you have to deserve it, you have to be worthy of it by sacrificing and all these things, that is just a distraction. And it takes effort and energy to maintain that keeping bound to, how do I want to say that? Using the hot air balloon thing, you have to actively um, tie your balloon down or put ballast into your balloon to keep it from floating away. It takes effort. It takes collecting things, carrying things, depositing things in the balloon to hold it down. Because if you let go of all of that, your soul will naturally rise where it's supposed to go. And so, God, I'm spending too much time on cards. Well, not too much time. Um, focus on joy. Focus, like the more you, like one of my teachers used to talk about how she would wake up in the morning and her first thought was, okay, universe, I'm ready for my 3 happy surprises. And so she would go through her day looking for those 3 happy surprises. And she always found them because that was her system, that was her perspective, that was her belief. And she always found them. And so the more you can focus on the joy, right? And it doesn't matter what brings you joy. Do whatever it is that brings you joy, do that. Whether it helps, you know, resist the government, whether it helps other people, whatever, do whatever brings you joy because joy is the answer. Kind of like what another thing Dr. Wayne Dyer said, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And when we're joyful, that's letting that balloon rise so that you can see, and from that perspective of joy, you can see more of the connection. You can see more pathways. You can see more opportunities than what you do when you're standing on the ground. So, whatever it is, find the joyful path, find a way to play with it, and trust that um, we are in a river. How do I put this? Just like our chakras is kind of a river of light, right? We are in a liver, a river of light. The world is a river of light. And you can either open up to the abundance or you can shut down. thinking you have to hold on for dear life. And either option is acceptable. Either option is met without judgment, right? It's like you can spend lifetimes closed up if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to experience. Um, but if you're watching this, I'm guessing that you're not going to settle for that anymore, right? You're not willing to. You're looking for something more. You're looking for what else is there. So do that. Look for the happy. Look for the good things. Look, like Mr. Rogers used to say, when there's a disaster, look for the helpers, because there is way more people helping. There is way more people rushing into the danger than there were the people who actually caused it. Okay, so everything is already yours. If you can desire it, if you desire something, if you have a longing for something, if you have a dream of something, a passion for something, that is the universe trying to call me. Um, but that's your compass to go. That's what I'm like. Follow your bliss, like Joseph Campbell said. When you follow your bliss, where there were only walls, doors will open. Right? If you don't follow your bliss, you're trapped within that box. But as soon as you start to follow your bliss, it's that allowance, it's that flow that allows doors to appear where there weren't any. And it's not that they weren't there, it's that all of a sudden you can see it. It's like a secret door. Please be a secret door. Please be a secret door. Yay. Um, so no matter how trapped you feel, there is always a solution. There is always a way. You are never trapped. Okay? I hope that is helpful. I feel like I'm kind of rambling out of control tonight, but hopefully that is helpful and makes sense to you, Anna, and anyone else that chose card number 1. So let's get to number 2. Card number 2 for Astrius. I still have 1 card left if anybody wants it. There's still 1 spot left. Oh, awesome. Astrius, card number 2. Chelsea, cool, I got you. You are number 5, Chelsea. All right. So card number 2 is elk. And elk is about stamina. Elk's superpower is that he can run for hours and hours and hours without getting tired. So it's not so much speed as it is distance. That he's got the long haul, that he's got the long game to win, right? Because predators like wolves tend to be sprinters, right? And they depend on surprise. They depend on stalking and surprising. And they depend on short bursts of speed, right? And so if they fail to get their prey in that pounce and that speed, then they're done. They're used up. They can't go any further. And so elk is about God. It's so funny because I'll get these things. I'll get these knowings or these words or these images in my head, and I'm not sure how to unravel them into words sometimes. Or what order, because they're all there at the same time. So I had to find that single thread to pull out to unravel it all. Um, so the elk, like one of my favorite sayings is that if you'll if you stop to throw rocks at every dog that barks at you, you'll never get where you're going, right? If elk is being attacked by the wolf pack, if elk stops to head face each wolf that is attacking him, he's done. He's gone. He's dinner. And so it's about seeing that distance, knowing your goals, knowing where you are headed, and rather than paying attention to what you're running from, paying attention to what you're running to, right? Like I said, energy flows where consciousness goes. If you continue to focus on where you've been, on the wolves nipping at your heels, the universe is going to be, okay, that's what they want, and they're going to create more. But if you're focused on where you're going, the wolves become no longer even pertinent. At some point, you won't even hear them anymore, right? And so I was doing a reading for someone, and I was talking about this. And in my imagination, I was watching the scene progress out, on the table horizontally, and it's like the elk running and the wolves running after him, and the elk getting further and further ahead, right? And all of a sudden, this horizontal image flipped vertically. And I realized that, like, bringing in that hot air balloon imagery again, it's about rising in frequency. If you lower your frequency to battle the wolves, you're dead, because then, you know, you're at their frequency. You sacrificed your own well-being. You sacrificed your natural vibration and frequency up here so that you could let them have it, right? Um, but if you focus on who you are, you focus on what's joyful, what's the next best step, what is your highest vibrational timeline, then you rise above, and the wolves can only go this high in that frequency, right? They're limited. They can only go this high. Meanwhile, you're up here going higher and higher and higher to the point where you can't even hear the wolves howling anymore. And it's kind of like that. There's a quote from Mother Teresa that I mention every once in a while about. There's a list of things. Like one of them is like, when you're kind, people will think you have ulterior motives. Be kind anyway, right? And there's like another, like 5 or 6 points like that. Like, do it anyway. If you do this, people are going to think this. Do it anyway. And at the end, it's like, because it never was between you and them. It was between you and God. You're not here. You are not here to save anyone. You are not here to change anybody's mind. You are here to express your divinity. And ironically, paradoxically, that's how you heal people. That's how you change people. It's not what you do, but who you become that changes the world, as Sandra Ingerman says. And so, in every instance, being the divine presence to the best of your ability in the moment, right? I mean, we have ups and downs, we have challenges, like I was talking about earlier, but if in every moment you can look for the divine presence, and if you can't find the divine presence, it's because it's in you. And so it's like being the light in the dark, being the divine presence in the physical. That's what we came here to do. Um, and the more you do that, right? Look at elk's antlers, right? Rising out of the crown chakra like antenna reaching to spirit, right? It's like when you start to embrace your power and you align with spirit, it's like the electric train, right? You can push the train around the track if you want to, but that's harder. If you turn on the electricity, the train gets carried by that electricity by itself and it's effortless. So this is about plugging in to spirit and that stamina, that energy, um, all of that comes from that alignment. It's not coming from effort. It's not coming from doing reps in the gym or running underwater or up on a mountaintop or whatever. It's from alignment. Um, so that is the main thing. Hi Simran O. I'm not sure how to say your name. You want a reading on your career? I I don't do that here. Um, People choose a number and then I do the card. But the fact that you came up, your question came up during card number 2 during elk. I would guess that that is part of what I was just saying. Um, and speaking as someone who let go of their work in favor of following their heart and doing their dream job. Oh, you're currently jobless? Know that things don't just fall apart of their own volition. That if things fall apart, if you experience loss, it's because there's something else pushing in, like a snake losing its skin. The skin doesn't just shed and come off, and then the snake grows new skin. It's because of the new skin that the old skin peels off, right? And so, still do the things you're doing, but like I just said, it's more about alignment than doing the footwork. Each day before you go out job searching, before you do the normal things, sit and align, ask your guides to come in, your angels to come in, and even picture, yeah, you're shedding your skin. You're, or if we want to pull it back to the elk, it's like, when the antlers grow, they're covered in velvet because they're tender and they need the blood supply. The velvet allows the blood to flow to the antlers so they can grow. And then the velvet peels off because the antlers have hardened, and it's like, they harden so the blood no longer flows, so they don't need that anymore. I don't know if I'm kind of pushing it on that, but anyway, um, my suggestion is to hold, like, every morning, every evening, as best you can, to sit in silence, to call in your guides. Part of elk medicine is part of elk medicine is about community, right? The herd. And so know that you are not alone. Call in your guides, your ancestors, even if you don't know who they are. Whoops, I accidentally. But, and focus. Just give yourself permission for 5 minutes every morning to feel what it will feel like when you find your dream job. Okay? And just like when you're watching a sci-fi movie or something, that suspension of disbelief for 5 minutes, surround yourself in light and love, call in your guides. Just imagine what it would feel like to have your dream job and feel that sense of relief. Feel that that sigh of relief, to feel totally supported financially, physically. And I just got 5555 on the counter, and fives are about change, like sudden change, like hold on to your hat, change is coming. And so in this way, align. It's about aligning to spirit because you are meant for something else. The constant disappointment in jobs is because you've never encountered yet what you are meant to do. So focus on your heart. Focus on what you would like to do. What have you never had enough courage to picture yourself doing? What have you never given yourself permission or gotten permission from other people to do? Like what did you want to, who did you want to be when you grow up? What did you want to be when you grew up? And go for that now. Okay? And trust. Um, and it sounds easy coming out of my mouth, right? It sounds easier said than done. But I promise you that you are meant for something better. And like I just said, instead of running away from all the disappointments, from the wolves that are trying to hold, bar your way, box you in, keep you limited, keep you miserable, focus on where you want to go. Because elk, I don't know if you saw the beginning of the elk card, but elk's superpower is that he can run for hours without um, getting tired. And because he doesn't focus on the wolves, he doesn't stop and try to explain to the wolves why they have to let him go. The wolves are inconsequential. The wolves, if anything, is a catalyst for him to like focus. It's like, oh, this isn't what I want. What do I want? And focus on where you want to go. And by doing that, that's how you align those antennas. You open up that crown, connect to spirit, and then everything that happens after that is inspired action. And you will be inspired to do certain things, or you will start to experience the synchronicities that happen because you're in alignment, right? People will suddenly show up. You'll become aware of something, possibilities and career choices that you didn't even know existed before. And it's about being in that alignment, in that abundance thinking, knowing that the universe does have your back. And that um, to recognize that this disappointment, all these other jobs, is not because you were doing anything wrong. It's because you were not you were never shown your own potential, who you were meant to be. And once you get aligned with that, there is no one that can take that from you. Okay? So keep running, keep connecting, keep those channels open, right? You were betrayed, never appreciated. That's why it's time to find your place. Don't look at where you're coming from. Don't focus on the pain and the betrayal and the hurt. Cut that loose. Like I was talking about the hot air balloon earlier, all the cables that are tying your balloon down to the ground, all of the sandbags that are the ballast that keep your hot air balloon. It might be floating, but it's floating closer to the ground. Let go of all those, cut those ties, and let yourself soar. Let your soul rise where it's supposed to be. And trust that if these things are falling apart, it's because you are meant for something better, something bigger. Okay? And when you align, like I said, it's like an electric train set. You can sit there and push the train to try to get it to go where you want it to go. But that takes energy, that takes effort, that tires you out. And if you just flip the switch to the electric current, there's the currency again. It's that electric current that carries the train effortlessly. It's effortless for the train. There's no effort, and it could go as long as that electric current is flowing. As long as it's connected to that electric current, it can keep going. So just don't give up. Keep going. Like my Artemis, who is my matron goddess, always tells me, don't give up, just surrender. Surrender to the spirit that wants to carry you. Surrender to the universe that wants your highest and best. Okay? All right, card number 3 for L. Tiddits. Sometimes I get the names on here on YouTube, and I have no idea how to say them, so please forgive me if I ever say someone's what they meant it to be, if I say it wrong or whatever. And you're welcome, Simran. All right, card number 3. L. Tiddits. All right, card number 3 for L. Tiddits is Prairie Dog in reverse. So, Prairie Dog is about retreat, especially in reverse. It hints at I don't want to say desperate, but a deeper need for solitude, a deeper need to retreat from the world. And it comes from one of those places that is so common in our society that, the helpers, people who are natural helpers, people who are natural healers, have trouble with boundaries. They have trouble giving themselves the same considerations that they want to give to everybody else, right? And so they work and they work and they work and they expend and they expend and they expend until there's nothing left of them to give, or the boundaries become so saturated and homogenized that they don't know who they are anymore, right? But to be a productive contributor, healer, light worker, whatever, to your community, you have to have your own center. You have to know who you are, right? Kind of like that whole thing about you can't love someone else unless you love yourself, right? It's like you can't help someone else unless you know who you are, you know where you're coming from, you've done your own work, right? And so Prairie Dog is about that need to pull within, the need to pull back, to say no. You know, no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe anyone asking for permission. Your well-being, especially as a healer, especially as a helper, especially as someone who does so much for other people, your highest priority is to your own well-being. Otherwise, there's no context, right? Like they say, like, compassion without boundaries is self-destruction. And so it's time to pull back. It's time for solitude, right? Um, Prairie dogs have these vast prairie dog towns. They're underground towns and tunnels and chambers. And every prairie dog town has specific chambers that are set aside for individual prairie dogs to go and spend time by themselves. Because they realize that to be a good citizen, you have to know who you are first. Um, and so there's a need to recuperate, a need to recalibrate. In a way, it's a need for rebirth, because anytime you're going into the darkness, anytime you're going underground, into the cave, into the tunnels, that is the womb of the earth. That is the womb of the cosmic mother. And you're needing that nurturing, that same nurturing that you give other people, you need to receive. And it might be that you need, even though, and as I'm about to say this, I can tell it's something I need to hear too. But I know how hard it is for healers and helpers, etc., to ask for help, because we're hardwired to alleviate pain and suffering that we see in the world around us. And it feels like our own pain and suffering is inconsequential, right? But it is. Like I said, your only priority, your highest priority, is to your own well-being. Otherwise, you have nothing to give, right? And like Abraham Hicks says, one of my favorite quotes from him is about how you can't get sick enough to help someone who's ill. You can't get poor enough to help somebody out of poverty, right? It's not selfish to seek your own healing, your own well-being. And in that place of that darkness, with it's just you and Creator, you and the Divine Mother, it gives you the chance to again experience and familiarize yourself with your own unique signature vibration. What it is that makes you you, which makes you a better healer, makes you a better citizen, makes it so that you don't actually have to do anything, just your physical presence heals those around you. Because when you find that signature and you're focusing on that and vibrating at that, that's how you raise your vibration. And when you're the highest vibration in the room, everyone else's vibration rises to try to meet yours. And that's how we heal the world. One person, Abraham Hicks also says, like, one person who is in alignment is more powerful than a million people who are not. And so rather than trying to keep hitting your head against the wall, trying to push and force the universe to change and force people to change and force people to heal on all these things, again, like elk, that alignment, it's about finding yourself. Um, and it's kind of like the only way to help the world is to turn away from the world, to turn inward, to turn your sight from the outside to the inside. That's really what's being asked for. And on top of all of that, what gives you permission to do that is the fact that just like Prairie Dog, who has, they always have sentinels positioned. Um, there's prairie dogs whose only job is to stand there and to watch the horizon for predators, to watch the skies for predators, which means that the rest of the prairie dog town can stand down and relax. They don't have to be hyper vigilant. And so you can trust that if you are being called to spend some downtime, to spend some introspection time, that you're the world is not going to fall apart because you stepped away from it. The world may fall apart because you refuse to step away from it. But you have guidance. You have those watching over you. The world, every person in the world has their own guides, their own angels, spirit guides, power animals. Um, that's not something you just acquire when you start on a spiritual path. Everyone has that. And you can trust in your own guidance that you will be in the right place at the right time. That you can trust the guidance and the well-being of everyone else, that they will be in the right place at the right time. And if you're not there to help someone, there is someone else whose job it is to help them. Does that make sense? Hi, Brain. Good to see you again. Um, so by wearing yourself to the bone, you're not helping anybody. Stand down. That's what the universe is telling you right now. Stand down. It's time to rebuild. It's time to rest. It's time to recuperate. And whatever way you can do that, right? Even if it's just meditating, once or twice a day and having that safe and sacred space. If you can't get away from other people totally, if you can at least do that, surround yourself in white light, meditate, and trust that the world is going to be okay without your participation for a few minutes. Um, because the world needs you. The world needs all of you. The world needs you at your power, empowered, impassioned. And the more of us who walk in this world in alignment from a place of power, um, the better off everyone is, right? When we all do better, we all do better. The world is a much better place when everyone is taken care of, when everyone's needs are met, when everyone's rights are respected. Um, that's the way the world is supposed to be. So start, like they said, like, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. I was raised Catholic, so, but that, the prayer of St. Francis is like, let it begin with me. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the light that you want to see in the world. It's not out there someplace. You're not going to acquire it out there. You're not going to change someone by forcing them to become enlightened. The only way to do that is to shine your own light. And like, you know, like shamans, like we go into the dark to find the light, right? Even when I'm doing healing, when I'm doing journeying, um, no, I don't have it. It's in my. I have a scarf that I wear around my eyes. I have an eye covering to make sure that none of the light gets through, so that I don't have the outside stimulation, and I can focus on the inner journey. I can find the light in the darkness that I need to bring into the world. So I hope that is helpful. It's going to be another long one tonight. All right, let's do card number 4 for Tiffany. I hope that was helpful. Huh. All right, card number 4 for Tiffany is Antelope. Um, again, we've got the horns coming out of the crown. Horns rather than antlers, but um, which is interesting because antlers are temporary. Antlers shed, they fall off, and then they grow back every year, whereas horns are permanent. Horns are, antlers are bone, and horns are keratin. Is that the right word? The same stuff that your hair's made out of, the same stuff your fingernails are made out of, bird beaks and rhino horns. And um, So in a way, this is um, like I was talking about elk earlier. This is like permanent connection, permanently connected, permanently aligned. Um, and the thing with antelope is about sacrifice, but not martyrdom, not, like I said, being raised Catholic, not that sacrifice, that martyrdom of giving up everything for the sake of someone else. Um, it's about sacrificing, again, kind of like the theme tonight, about um, the thing that's being asked to be sacrificed are the things that don't support you, the things, the habits or the thought patterns or beliefs, or, I mean, in extreme cases, it could be addictions, right? Or just watching, you know, watching too much Netflix or playing video games or other things that, though harmless, still, it's like it wicks our energy away, so we don't have all the energy to focus on our path. Does that make sense? So it's about sacrificing those things, not sacrificing the things that you love and the things that are essential to you, but sacrificing those things that we keep around because they're fun or convenient, or or because they are distracting us from who we really are, right? And so, and the reason Antelope Pronghorn is about sacrifice is, the story goes that when the first humans came across the Bering Strait into the Americas, it was during the Ice Age, which is why there was that Bering Strait bridge, land bridge across, because the water was in the glaciers and stuff. But so everything was frozen. Um, the people came across, they didn't know, like everything was frozen. They were vegetarian at the time. They didn't know how to hunt. Um, so they were starving, they were freezing. And Antelope saw this and leapt in and said, "Take my flesh for your food, take my hide for your clothing and your shelter, take my bones for your tools." And he sacrificed himself, not in a way of martyrdom, but because he knew there was more to him than the physical body. He knew that he could give up his physical body without endangering his soul, his spirit. And he knew that come the following spring that he would be reborn into the herd. So in a way, he wasn't really giving up anything. He was letting go of something that was holding him in place. And so he chose to let go. Like that's like the ballast from the balloons, and letting go of that allowed him to rise, to become more connected, and then to be born again, more wise than he was before, etc., etc. And so a real sacrifice is a mutual benefit. It's not a quadratic equation or a algebraic equation, A equals B plus C, where if you take C from one side, you have to subtract it from the other side. One side gets bigger, the other side gets less, right? It's a non-zero sum. When we all do better, we all do better. And so the sacrifice, giving up something you don't need, makes it available for someone else who will benefit from you. It's a mutual benefit. The tide raises all ships. If you are sacrificing and it's from a place of martyrdom, a place of, well, I don't matter that much. I might as well give up this thing that's so precious to me for the sake of this other person. That's not actually helping anybody. If not everyone's a winner, everyone's a loser. It's a mutual benefit or it's no benefit at all. And so by giving up, even if you think about like giving up, like going through your closet and giving up the clothes that you don't wear anymore, taking them to the secondhand store, it's like you're releasing those things. You're creating more space in your life, in your energy to receive even more, right? Coming back full circle to the squirrel. And at the same time, you're putting more resources out into the world for other people to benefit from what no longer serves you. You know, the other thing about antelope is, um, you know, they are so sensitive, right? Just like most herd animals, they have excellent hearing, eyesight, smell. They don't need to be hyper vigilant to watch out for predators, right? Because they trust their abilities, they trust their natural tendencies and perceptions, which means they can relax. They're not out there grazing on the prairie, like looking up every moment, like, what was that? What was that sound? What was that? What was that over there? Right? They can relax because they trust their abilities and they can trust that they will know when to leap out if they need to leap out, and they will know when to leap into something if they need to leap into something. And so stop second guessing yourself and trust your intuition to guide you, to make sure that you can rest assured that you are in the right place at the right time. And that at any given moment, if it's time for you to go, you will know to go. If it's time for you to step into something, you will know to step into it. You don't have to second guess. You don't have to overthink. Again, going into the heart and trusting, right? So, you know, Kira's here helping me, um, sitting on the cards. So, know that you have purpose here. It is no accident that you are alive in this time, in history, in this place, that you have so much to contribute. And um, don't play small. There's nothing, like Marianne Williamson said, there's nothing enlightened about playing small so that others will be comfortable. Play big, dream big, be present, own your space, give up anything, situations, people, beliefs, thought patterns, anything that makes you feel small or less than doesn't serve you. That's what's being asked to be sacrificed, okay? Trust in your greatness. surrender to your greatness. You are naturally great. You are, like she goes on to say, um, to shine like everybody has the right. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but um, you are a child of God, and just like everyone else. And um, when you allow yourself to be fabulous, to be great and amazing, that you give other people permission to be in their own greatness and stuff. So I hope that's helpful. And so if there are things that are kind of falling apart, if there's things, if you're experiencing some losses and stuff, rather than trying to hold on to who you were with those things, try to acquaint yourself with who you are without them. It's like, oh crap, how am I going to be myself without this thing? It's like, oh, wait a minute. Who am I without that thing? I don't need that thing to be who I am. And without that thing, there's more space. There's less ties, there's less cords. I don't have to tie my identity to owning a certain thing. Whoa, who am I? Wow, right? All right, card number 5 for Chelsea. Ha! Oh my God, I could not have picked a better card. Chelsea, card number 5 is Lizard. And Lizard is the dreamer. Um, and I I know Chelsea, for those who don't know, I know Chelsea. She is the lion-hearted dreamer. She is an active dreamer. She teaches classes on dreaming. So um, this is, I think mostly this is a validation to keep doing what you're doing. This is a validation in your authenticity of what you are doing. Um, and you know the story goes that there's a story with Lizard about how he was sitting on a rock sunning himself one day and his eyes were closed, and Coyote comes up to him and it's like, hey Lizard, what you doing? And Lizard kind of half opens his eye and looks at Coyote and says, I'm dreaming. And he closes his eye again, and Coyote's like, oh, so you're napping? And Lizard opens his eye again and says, no, I'm not sleeping, I'm dreaming. There's a difference. And he explains he's dreaming, he's manifesting, he's dreaming his world into being. And Coyote's like, well, how do you know I'm not here to eat you? And Lizard said, because I dreamt you earlier and I dreamt you with a full belly. And so it's about that that is kind of that question of the who's the dreamer and who's the dream. You know, like that, I forget who, is it Zhu? was a Zen or a Taoist master that had the dream that he was a butterfly, and then he woke up and he was wondering, it's like, well, am I a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or am I the butterfly dreaming that I'm a man? Right? And so it's that um, God, there's so much going on, and how do I put it into words? Um, there's this vibrancy, this electricity. Um, like you're a portal of manifestation. And it's like this recognizing yourself as the dreamer, but also as the dream, right? It's kind of like the infinity symbol. You're like the dreamer who's dreaming the dream, who's dreaming the dreamer. And it's what I'm picking up is that you've reached a level where, and you may have been here for a while, but it's becoming more and more solid, the idea that the dreams, your dreaming life, your life in the dream time is more real than life in here, which is the real dream. The physical world is the illusion. The physical world is the dream. And the dream time, the dream realms is actually reality. I think I mentioned last week. Do I have that right here? I mentioned about how, and some of you know that Mr. Rogers is one of my guides. He's my upper world spirit teacher. And I was visiting with him not too long ago. And I'm looking for, I actually I drew a comic. For those who are new here, I am also, besides being a shaman, I'm also a cartoonist. And I drew a comic of it. I don't know if it's in this book or... Here it is. So I don't, okay, here, let's do this. So this is Fred, and I go up to journey with him. And I go up, and I meet him in his little house, and Trolley's usually there. And he's like, I can't read it, it's backwards. It's like, have you ever wondered why I always meet you here in my living room, but not someplace else? And then I'm like, I never did, but now that you mentioned it, why is that? And he said, because this is real, and your world is the land of make-believe, neighborhood of make-believe. So it's kind of like this. It's like me journeying out to Mr. Rogers' living room is actually the real world. And my world here is the land of make-believe. So there's a sample of my comics. If you want to see more, I keep them on a blog, drawingbreath-comic.blogspot.com, and the link is in the description. So if you're interested in seeing my comics, I would love to have you read them. But that's a sample, and that's one of the things that my interactions with Fred recently is like, he's like, yeah, um, you ever wonder why you're always here in my living room and not someplace else? We never go anywhere else. And it's like, thank you, Chelsea. Um, it's like, yeah, because you're actually living in the land of make believe. So it's kind of like there's this balancing point that you're either crossing or have crossed, where you're realizing the how much more real the dream time is than the physical world, which is just a dream, and the spiritual teachers and gurus and shamans and stuff from time immemorial have always said that this is a dream, right? And even like in the Hindi, I don't know a lot about Hindi religion and stuff, although I do have connections with like Ganesha and Kali, but they talk about, is it Brahma? If I get the names wrong, please forgive me, but it's basically how, the main original divine being source went to sleep and dreamt this world into being, and that just like we have REM sleep, we have these different cycles of sleep, right, for different periods, and we tend to sleep for a certain amount of time. So does the creator, and so is like the dreams are cyclical, and we spend so much time in this world before the Godhead wakes up, and we all recognize ourselves as part of the Godhead, as part of the dreamer, rather than as a product of the dream. And it's like I've talked before about how we tend to think about, when we think about ourselves, we think of ourselves as separate from the world, like we come into the world from someplace else, right? Like a potter makes a pot out of clay by bringing different things together to create something new. But it's more like Alan Watts talks about, where we don't come into the world, we grow out of it like a flower, right? Like a flower blossoms off of the branch. It doesn't get stuck on there. It doesn't come from someplace else and get stuck on there with glue or something. The flower is a natural blossoming of the branch, just like we are. Well, just like there was a quote he did about how, just like, how did it go? Just like just as plants fruit, blossom or fruit or flower, the universe peoples. We are the flowers of the universe. We come out of the universe. We come out of the world as a part of the world, and we are integrally, integrally, no, that's not, integrally connected to the world. We are not like I always use the image of, like, we always think that the world like a like as if the world were a Barbie dream house, right? It exists there on its own by itself, whether there's anything in it or not, and then we are the Barbie dolls and Ken dolls walking through it from someplace else. We're not integral to the existence of the house. That house is objective and exists whether we are there or not. when the reality is that the universe is more like a Rubik's Cube, where each block is an integral part of the universe, and each block, depending on what it does, where it moves, affects the position and the relationship of every other part of the universe. That we are an essential moving part of the universe, and that what we do and what the intentions we set, etc., who we become, is what changes the universe, not the other way around. So I'm just so excited for you. It's like, it's so cool. It's it's a really it's a really good threshold, like a really good turning point, like to move from that place where it's, and moving to a place where the dreams not just are as real as reality, but even more real. So good job. Good job. All right. So I knew it was going to be a long night. Thank you for your perseverance and staying with me. We should be wrapping it up, but because I've been so loquacious, we're just now getting to our community. So that's our 5 single cards, right? And so now, like I said earlier, when you come to me for a one-on-one card reading, I do a 5-card spread. It's called the medicine wheel spread, which is the 4 directions and center. And so now I'm going to take the 5 cards from the individuals, put them into that 5-card spread, and do a reading for the community. And I love it because it shows how much the interdependence of us as individuals and the effect we have on the community, and the commonalities that usually if you're going through something, you are not alone, and there are other people going through the same thing. And it might be affecting people in different ways, but we're more alike than we are different. That's not big enough. I was gonna, okay. And to help you avoid looking at my dirty, dirty floor, laying down, I forgot I was gonna get, okay, where did it go? I was gonna get a piece of leather to lay down as kind of a floor covering to do these cards on, but I ran out of time. I forgot to do that. So, okay. Just looking for all the cards that came up tonight. Bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, ba, ba, ba. Ba bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba bum bum bum. Bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba bum bum bum. Ba da bum bum ba bum bum. Bum bum ba bum bum ba bum bum. Bum ba da bum bum ba bum bum. Ba ba bow 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 bow. You like my incidental music? Oh, you're welcome, Chelsea. I figure a lot of times hold music or elevator music, it always is like tends to be something like the girl from Ipanema, so that seemed appropriate when I'm doing something else or getting something set up, not paying attention to the camera at the moment. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's see if we can get this to work. So I'm going to move my camera down so you can see these. Maybe we can zoom in on them a little bit. So because my phone is, I think it's in mirror mode, so this might be backwards. I'm not sure how it comes out. But we have, oh wait. East, south, west, north, and center. So it's from your perspective. I'm not sure if these two are backwards because of the mirror thing on my camera, but which is why everything was backwards when I was trying to read my comic. But so putting all those 5 cards that came up tonight, we start in the east, which is where the sun rises. Is a place of air. It's the place of the mental realm. And here's where we have squirrel. And squirrel in reverse can be, it can be that frenetic running in a circle, trying to hold everything together, trying to prepare everything, trying to make sure everything is set up. And it's basically compromising the present, the well-being and presence and joy of the moment, giving that up for the sake of feeling safe at some future date, some rainy day. Come winter, you want to make sure you're not starving. You want to set up, make sure you've got enough food, enough drink, enough everything else, so that you don't have to worry about that. But all that does is gives up that, like I said, that presence, that power. Your power, the present is always your point of power. No matter what lies ahead of you, no matter what happened behind you, this moment is the only place where your power exists. And it is perfectly okay to, set up stores for the winter in this in the present moment. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just when we do it, it's how we do it, where we're doing it from, whether it's coming from a place of love or a place of fear. If it comes from a place of self-care and taking care of ourselves and setting ourselves up, or if it's like, oh my God, I got to do this, or I'm going to die, I'm going to starve, and what are the neighbors going to think? Look, they've got 10 more gallons of water than I do. Oh no, And so it's about presence, and it's about um, allowing the abundance of the universe to flow through you, rather than trying to control that flow. Kind of like if you've ever watched Avengers Endgame, right, the last one, when they do they're trying to figure out time travel, right? And so they take Ant-Man and they're trying to put him through time, make him go into different times. But every time they do it, he pops out at a different age, right? They do it once and he pops back as a child. They do it again, he comes back as an old man. They do it again. He comes back as a baby, and then they finally get him back to who he was when he left. And as Tony Stark described it, instead of putting him through time, they were putting, no, yeah, they were taking time through him. And it's kind of that same, like the abundance, rather than um, you can't live the future today. And again, like, so, okay, let me ground for a moment. I'm getting kind of scattered, but um, in that trusting the flow of the universe, trusting that the universe is friendly, right? Like Einstein would say, your greatest decision in life is whether you decide you live in a friendly universe or a hostile one. And so Squirrel in Reverse is kind of like believing you live in a hostile universe where it's dog eat dog. You have to fight for everything you have. You have to scrimp and save, and it's a ordeal, and resources are scarce, etc., etc. Rather than looking at the universe as safe, friendly, and abundant, knowing that the universe has your back, that you always have whatever you need in every moment, and that um, you know not to test the fates or anything, but um, like the Disney version of the grasshopper and the ants, right? If you've ever seen that cartoon, where the ants are plodding away, they're doing what ants do, and they're storing up for the winter time, and they're very regimented, and they don't have to worry because they have all their stores are full for the winter. Meanwhile, grasshopper is jumping around, playing his fiddle, laughing at the ants for doing so much work, and they should be carefree and not worry about tomorrow. And the winter comes and he's freezing. And in the original story, the grasshopper actually dies. He starves and freezes to death. But in the Disney version, the ants see him and bring him in and feed him and warm him up. And so, not that you want to be grasshopper in testing the fates and saying, well, we'll see, the universe has my back, so I don't have to take care of myself. But if that were what happened and you're always in the right place at the right time, like Grasshopper in the Disney version, even though he didn't um, make sure all his stores were full, that he had all this food set aside to eat, he had a warm place for the winter time, miracles happened and the universe had his back. And so the ants were kindly saw his plight and invited him in, even though he didn't prepare, and they were willing to share their abundance with him. That's my take anyway. You don't have to you can see it a whole different way if you want, but that's kind of my take on it. And not saying it like I said, not saying that, oh yeah, I don't have to take care of myself because everyone else will take care of me. It's in even when you like by staying present, even if you don't have all the stores set, even if you're not doing what the world tells you you're supposed to do, and being in fear for the future and focusing on these preparations, etc., just in case, because if you don't, you'll be sorry. That if you really are in the flow of the universe, um, you will find yourself doing what is necessary to take care of yourself. If that's putting aside lots of food for the winter time, that's what you'll find yourself doing out of joy. You'll feel compelled to do it, not from fear, because if you fear it, there like things happen and you can always get rodents or ants or something that come in and spoil your food or steal your food or whatever it is. And so it's really about trusting that abundance to flow through you. Um, like squirrel with open arms, receiving that great big acorn, and then returning it to the earth, burying it so that his arms are open to receive the next miracle, the next acorn. And then come that winter day, he's hungry. It's like, there was that acorn that I buried way over there. I'm going to go get that and eat it now. It's like by taking care of himself in the present, in the moment, every moment after that, he is also taken care of. And, and it might not make sense to you at the moment why you're giving something up, right? Um, but it's not about the acquiring of the things, it's about the flow of the things that when you catch and release, you're catching and then you're releasing and opening up space for the next best thing to come to you. So you're trusting the flow of the universe. You're trusting the universe has your back. And so right now there's more of a sense of that scarcity of what's next, what's going to happen, what do I have to do to protect myself, right? And ironically, if we jump across to the west, which is water, so that's the emotional realm, we have prairie dog here also in reverse. So we've got these two basically in reverse because they don't feel safe. They're trying their hardest to do what they're supposed to do, to be prepared, to protect themselves, and they're trying to take care of everyone else, make sure everyone else is protected and take care of themselves, and watching out for dangers and being hyper vigilant and all these things, when the solution is to play, to know the universe has your back, that miracles happen naturally. Miracles are what happen when nature is unimpeded. And by going inward into the tunnels, into the earth, and regrouping and relaxing. Hi, Kit Kat. Um, that everything is taken care of, that you're already safe. This is seeing and feeling a lack of safety, a neck to overprotect, a need to lash out um, and be greedy, and it comes from that place of fear that you are not enough. And so what's being asked for is to loosen up a little bit, to play, to see the beauty around you rather than just the necessary, right? Um, you're not meant to just survive, you're meant to thrive. Like squirrels, who everything they do is play, right? And prairie dog, who knows that they're being watched over, that has sentinels watching for predators so the rest of the prairie dog town can just relax and be their roly-poly playful selves. That's the real reality, right? But because of our thoughts and beliefs, we don't feel safe, and so we get it all backwards. And this is a feedback loop, right? The more we're afraid, the more the universe gives us a reason to be afraid, right? Where energy flows, where consciousness goes. If we're focusing on what's to be afraid of, what's focusing on problems and scarcity, then that's what we're going to find in the world. And so with antelope down here in the south, the place of fire, and fire is action, it's passion, it's kind of purpose. It's the passions within our heart that drive us to do certain things. Um, And someone wrote me a long comment, but I can't read it upside down from where I am. I will get to you in a moment. Um, and like I said, it's like antelope is about sacrifice. It's about sacrificing, releasing the things that no longer support you, the things that they may have supported you before. It's kind of like all those things that as a child protected you, created walls and armor, etc., that protected you from the world, have now become a prison that keeps you from experiencing the world. And so with these, it's like it's time to release these into the fire. You know, you could even do a fire ceremony where you have like a ceramic dish that you can, and a candle, and you write down those things that you hold on to out of fear, out of convenience, but things that don't suit you anymore, that don't support you um, to your highest degree. And then, read it out loud, put that vibration into the world that this is what I'm releasing. Say it out loud, light that slip of paper on fire and put it in the dish and let it burn. And let that give those things as fuel to the fire to propel you forward. These things that are holding you back, that are making you go backwards and run in circles, are actually the things that will fuel your forward motion to a higher um, expression and awareness of yourself. Then we move up to the north, which is Earth. So this is the physical, logistical world. And up here we have elk, right? And I was talking about elk as stamina. And right now, with these things holding us back, elk cannot get into his stride. It's like physical energy is lacking. Love is lacking. Support is lacking. And instead of feeling like a community, we feel isolated. Um, and so again, the action being called for is to let go of these things that don't serve us, right? Give those things to the fire to fuel these turning around so that we are playful, we recognize the friendly nature of the universe, we feel safe, we've done the shadow work so that we can feel that darkness, that shadow, that womb as the source of our creativity, of our life, rather than something to dread and to avoid, which then fuels our alignment with spirit that propels us forward, and to achieve that highest possible vibration that is our birthright, right? And so right now, between these two is kind of like this: the fire is burning, but we're not getting, we're running in circles around the fire rather than feeding that fire what we need to in order to propel ourselves forward. At the center, the spirit card, the hub of the wheel that holds them all together, is lizard. So here we have the dreamer. And again, so it's like dream big. If if your dreams and your wishes and your desires are just to get by, just to survive this world, you're not dreaming big enough. There are bigger dreams available to you. And it's kind of like as an artist, I've always been told, like, when you go to sell your art, and it's always a question, well, how much do I charge? And the thing is that your perspective when it comes to the value of your art is skewed. You're going to almost always undervalue your art. And so what I've been told is to take your art, figure out what is the highest price that you're just almost uncomfortable with. Push your boundaries, push your comfort zone just to the point where you're just a little bit uncomfortable with how high it is, and then add $50 or $100. That's what we're having here, is the message to, dream as big as it's, dream. Don't just dream. Okay, so Ramtha the Enlightened One once said, do not manifest the money for the shoes, manifest the shoes. Don't focus on the means to survive, the means to just get by. Focus on what it is you actually want. For example, I don't remember your name, and I'm not really looking at the screen now, but the one that was asking about their career. Don't focus on just the next job or the next, let this one work, let this one work. Focus on dreaming on, rather than just having a job, as fulfilling your destiny. Don't settle for less. Focus on dreaming, imagining, manifesting your highest possible timeline where you are fulfilling your purpose. Don't just manifest the money, the means to get what you're desiring. Manifest what it is that you're desiring. Manifest the destination, not just the vehicle. Because these are all misperceptions of the dream that is physical existence. These are giving in to appearance, giving in to the idea that what I see is what I get, that there's nothing beyond what I can see, what I can touch. But there is so much more. The unseen is what gives birth to the seen. And so that's where you have to start, within yourself, and then playfully go about creating it to the point where you're aligned and fulfilling your destiny effortlessly. Running to the corners of the earth effortlessly for the joy of it, not because you have to, but because of that. I mean, talk about a perpetual motion machine. That's joy. Joy feeds itself, becomes the fuel and the vehicle and the destination. So dream big, and you don't have to figure out what it looks like. You don't have to figure out all the details. Dream about what it will feel like, and allow the universe to fill in the details. Because we think we're trying to manifest a thing, or a situation, or a person, but that's not what we're trying to manifest. Those aren't real. Those aren't sustainable. What we're trying to manifest is the feeling that comes from having those things in our life. But the thing is, having those things in our life is just a reflection of the feelings that are already within us. And because of imagination, you can imagine and bring that feeling into your world without the presence of those things, right? And the physical world is a reflection of the unseen world. So by focusing on that in the unseen world, in the dream time, etc., it can't help but manifest in your physical world to be the mirror and reflect back to you the reality of the presence of that feeling, of that wholeness, of that divinity that is your essence. Ba-boom. Oh, hey, Lasadi. How are you? I hope you're still there. Oh, I told you about the Silver Ravenwolf books, and your mom said you could get them. Awesome, 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 awesome. I'm so excited. I just got chills. Yay. I'm so glad. I am so, so glad. Um, you're, I'm just like, I'm tingling head to toe. Like, there's so much, you have so much ahead of you. You are going to change the world. Mark my words. You are going to change the world. Thank you, and thank you for the feedback. Thank you for not. How do I move back a little bit? There we go. I'm so happy for you. You are going to go places. You are going to change the world. Thanks for checking back and letting me know. It's an honor to have met you, even though it's virtually. I am honored to have been a part of your journey, right? So anyway, so that is our night. I am almost a half hour over what I normally allot for my time. So if you're still here, thank you for your perseverance. Thank you for sticking with me for this long. I hope it was worth it. I know it was worth it because I feel really good about it too. So anyway, so thank you for joining me. Again, if you haven't already, please, where did my other, sorry, squirrel. Where did my other thumbstick go? I like this one better than this one. So if you haven't already, you too, Lasadi, I had to look at your name again to remember. I look forward to seeing you again. You have a good night too. So, oh, that's starting a little flat now. So I set our sacred space. I drummed in our spirit guides and spirit allies. So I'm going to release them. But I also want to remind you that if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, share my videos, and if you ever need a little more guidance, that my channel is there 24/7. You can always choose a random video of readings, and then choose a number, a card, and see what that one says. And I promise that in the beautiful way it has, the universe will give you what you need to know, whatever guidance you are needing at that moment. And if you ever feel like you need to sit in sacred space, I have, over 6 or 7 years worth of ceremony videos. And feel free, if you ever need to center, you need to step out of the world. If Prairie Dog was the card you chose tonight, you might try that as a way of retreating from the world into safe and sacred space, to have me holding space for you. It's just as valid years from now as it was when it was live. So, and bringing that up, if you would like to join me on Wednesday night, same bat time, same bat channel. Well, not same bat channel, because I do this on Facebook Live, but I do my sacred pipe ceremony on Wednesday nights. We smoke the peace pipe, and we pray together, and we hold the vision of unity and wholeness and love for the world, in safe and sacred space. So if that sounds good, I look forward to seeing you there. And if you would like to, if you got something out of tonight, you would like to reciprocate in another way, or you would just like to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, which is me, my Venmo link is in the description. And this is my day job. This is what I do for a living. So every little bit helps. And every little bit I greet with such gratitude. It just blows my mind um, that I get to do this, that I get to do the work I love and to support others and to be supported in it by others. So thank you for that. And anything else? Oh, if you would like a reading, one-on-one individual reading, you can check out my website, perchingwolfstudios.net, and you can set up a reading or a healing or a teaching right from my website. Um, you can learn more about me. You can contact me through my website. You can just send me a message if you have got questions or anything. And like I said, I do readings, I do shamanic healing like soul retrieval, etc. Um, you're also getting tarot cards, Lasati. Awesome. Awesome. I'm really excited for you. Um, what was I saying? Oh, and teaching. I'm going to have some classes coming up in March that I haven't posted yet. But I also do one-on-one mentoring. If you are looking for a spiritual teacher, if you've had an awakening of sorts and are not sure which way to go, um, I would be honored to be your teacher, to help you, to bring my decades worth of spiritual growth and learning to the table, to help you find your own unique heart path. And, you know, through shamanic, even if you're not intending on being a shaman or having a shamanic path, it's a great, it lends itself to whatever your belief system is. It supports any belief system, any path that you're on. And so it's a good place to start. And I find myself teaching a lot of people who are just starting out. So I would be happy to, so you can kind of explore that with me as well. Ask me questions. We can kind of see if we're a good fit together and proceed there. Otherwise, I hope you will join me again next Monday night. And spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the Fae, the spirits of the land, and the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Our work for now is done, but you are always welcome in our circles. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Oh. All right, my friend. Oh, awesome, Astrius. You're actually been thinking about being a shaman and do these readings to help others find their path. Awesome. Awesome. More power to you. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for supporting me just by watching, by sharing. And I hope to see you next week. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, that I honor you. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and go shining. All right, bye now.